locked. Dirty dogs. Dirty dogs. Shauna D. Shalom, shalom. Mishpaha. Welcome to the show. G-Dog. What's up, brother? Shalom. Welcome to the show. Johnny Mora. Shalom. Welcome to the show. All right, let me build it up. Chris Smith, shalom, welcome to the show. Metal Sheep, shalom, welcome to the show. Dark Wolf, shalom, shalom. My soul tribe, I know that's right. Where is man? Oh, well, I guess I can wait. Glad to see everybody, man. Glad to see everybody. Hallelujah. All praises to the Most High Yah. I think he's revealed something, guys. He just gave it to me today. Well, he started giving it to me yesterday, and I couldn't sleep, so I got on today, and some stuff is deep, guys. Deep, 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 deep. And it makes me realize that there are actually two kingdoms. I mean, we know this already, but to really just have it in your face like that. It's not, when you say two kingdoms, it's not two spiritual kingdoms. I mean, these kingdoms are in the natural and in the spiritual. All right, Metal Sheep. Y'all bless you. So the two kingdoms, they're in the spiritual realm, the spiritual world. They also have a natural world, a natural realm. And that's what we're going to get into today. And this is it's kind of deep, guys. It's kind of deep. So yeah, it is incredible. So let me go ahead and get started. I hope it's clear. I hope we can get it clear to everybody and not get, because this stuff, y'all have to make sure y'all follow me now, because I don't want y'all to get off on the wrong track, and you know, you can get into some, when you go beyond the basics, you can get lost, and if you get lost here, it's bad news for you. All right, Shauna D, y'all bless you, y'all bless you. Okay, guys, so I'm going to start with the book of Lamech of Cain. And there's a lot of information in here, guys. This book is like, it's almost like it should have been attached to the Bible, to Scripture, but it's like a porno version of it. It's a lot of stuff that's beep, beep, bleep, beep, bleeped out, you know. They're not saying we don't know what it's saying. They just dot, 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 and you know, I think it's a lot of cursing, and it talks about some stuff in here. But see, this is not new to me. It's just new to, I mean, because I've been studying for a lot of years about hidden things, the occult and what goes on and stuff that, you know, make people jaw drop. And it goes back this far, even further. This is antediluvial, means pre-flood. And so in those days, guys, confusion was on the earth. You had the sons of God, the fallen angels down here. They had children by the women, which created giants. Some of them just mental giants, some of them actual physical giants. And then you still had these beasts down here, like the behemoth and the Leviathan. And that's where we're gonna and so we have all these characters were fighting against each other, kind of like the comic books, kind of like Highlander. All these, just think about Nimrod and all these other big kings, and they had all kind of powers, and they were fighting against each other. Just think, in Abraham's day, Melchizedek was here. Think of what kind of king and a priest he was, what kind of powers he had, what he did, you know, and then you had giants like King Og, and you had people like history tells us like Thoth and Hermes. These people were here alive on Earth, ruling and running stuff. So these were the times antediluvial when the fallen came down, Genesis 6, and mingled with the seed of everything, messed with the seed of plants, animals, humans, everything. And so everything had corrupted its way upon the earth. So Yah said he had to destroy it all. He had to destroy it all. So the book of Cain is like, it goes along with scripture, but it's like a vulgar version because it comes from Cain of Lamech. All right, Michael Bennett. Shalom, brother. Welcome to the show. So this is where we're going to start. In the book of Lamech of Cain. So it was saying like you can be walking the path. It had gotten so bad, and I think I read about that in my book of either Jasher or Jubilees. How when the angels came to see Abraham, boy, them cities were terrible. You go in the city and somebody hit you in the head and pop, you start bleeding. They say, okay, now you owe me. You owe me some money for that. I just helped you with this. So yeah, it was wicked. They extortion like that. Anything they do, like they'll cause you to bleed and then give you a Band-Aid and say you owe me. Yeah, so that's how it was pre-flood. Everything was wicked. There was no righteousness. And so let me go ahead and start reading, and then we'll go to some Bible scriptures. Loaded and locked over there. Okay, Lamech of Cain, the book of Lamech of Cain. And this chart started. Sounds enslaving. Yeah, exactly. Ooh, Shauna D. Yeah, bless you. It is enslaving. And this is what's going to break it down. We're going to discuss the two kingdoms as well, the two common kingdoms, guys. This has been revealed. This has been revealed to me as well. So we're going to talk about the image of the beast, the mark of the beast, and the other side, the flip side. Okay. I don't want to get ahead of myself. Okay. So you probably don't have this book yet, but if you do, go ahead and turn to the book. Lamech of Cain, chapter 3. And I'm going to start reading at verse 5 right here. And it says this. So there's a giant in this story, right? Along with Lamech of Cain. Now, Lamech of Cain is the seventh from Adam, seed of Cain. And just like Enoch, the one who was translated, was seventh from Adam, seed of Seth, through the line of Seth. Okay. So there's another Lamech. There's another Lamech in the seed of Seth who also wrote, but that was the righteous seed. This is those who come from the line of Cain, who was a cursed bloodline, cursed seed. And Lamech befriended a giant named Yahuah, and this was a friendly giant. And they end up befriending the Leviathan. So let's get into it. Chapter 3, book of Lamech of Cain, chapter 3, verse 5. And Yahuah took Lamech to the edge of the sea, and they saw Leviathan, and they saw blank, 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 Leviathan coming up out of the sea, having 10 horns upon his head, blank, blank, blank. And Leviathan was broad on both sides. I'm not going to say all the blanks because it's all throughout here. I'm just going to try to read straight through. But just know it, every now and then, if it don't make sense, it's because they, there's a lot of stuff that's either missing or they're blotting out because they don't want you to, because it's vulgar probably. It's from the vulgar line. So let's start that over. And Yuval took Lamech to the edge of the sea, and they saw Leviathan coming up out of the sea, having 10 horns upon his head. And Leviathan was broad on both sides and great. And Lamech and Yuval the giant were small in his midst. He said the giant was small. And looked up to the Leviathan. Great flow of waters arose like a storm. Leviathan was large as a mountain and covered with earthly plants, trees. And Lamech and Yuval the giant stood in awe of him and his female. So the Leviathan, there were two of them. And I don't know. It seems like where one was, the other was. I'm trying to get a picture of it. So, but then at the same time, I'm gonna skip ahead and just tell you about this. Lamech learned how to breed the Leviathan. So he bred some and gave some as gifts to the giant who showed him how to, because they tamed the Leviathan. They showed it. But let me just get into it. Leviathan was broad on both sides and great, and Lamech and Yuval the giant were small in his midst, and looked up to Leviathan. Great flow of waters arose like a storm. Leviathan was large as a mountain and covered with earth plants, trees. And Lamech and Yuval the giant stood in awe of him and his female. For the movement of Leviathan was a big disturbance, and all who were about knew of his coming. Where we at here? Okay. So let's stop right there, guys. I want to get you guys in the mind frame of what's going on here. Okay? Let's do that. So the Leviathan is a sea creature. As a matter of fact, it's deep, guys. It's deep. Let's go to, I'm going to read this one more time, right? And Yuval took Lamech to the edge of the sea, and they saw Leviathan coming up out of the sea, having 10 horns upon his head. And Leviathan was broad on both sides. Now, we're going to go to Daniel chapter 7. Hokey pokey. Put your right foot in. Okay, right there. Daniel 7. Hold on, I'm not gonna. We're gonna hold off on that one. Hold off on that one because I missed something right here. Hold off on that one. You know what? Let me read this right quick, and we'll come back to that because I don't want to. I don't want to. We're finna find out. We're finna find out. Okay, so we're gonna finish reading, and then we'll come back to that. Let me make sure I got these down. Daniel 7. Yeah, it's going to be good. Okay, I'm going to start over right there. I'm going to read, and then when we get to the end of here, we'll get in the Bible. And Yuval took Lamech, and Yuval took Lamech to the edge of the sea, and they saw Leviathan coming up out of the sea, having 10 horns upon his head. And Leviathan was broad on both sides, and great. And Lamech and Yuval, the giant, were small in his midst, and looked up to Leviathan. Great flow of waters arose like a storm. Leviathan was large as a mountain, and covered with earth, plants, trees. And Lamech and Yuval, the giant, stood in awe of him and his female. For the movement of Leviathan was a big disturbance, and all who were about knew of his coming. And Leviathan was a large sea creature that was also seen on land. And Yuval provided Leviathan with ample food, saying, Leviathan, you will have life for many years to come. Take your ease, eat, drink, and enjoy yourself. Yuval then taught Lamech the ways of the Leviathan, and gave Lamech command over them, both male and female. They trained the Leviathan. The giant had tamed it and gave the knowledge of how to do it over to Lamech of Cain. Okay, let's keep going. And the Leviathan moved unscathed in all things, and had skin, could not be harmed or pierced by weapons of any kind. So that the Leviathan, male and female, would follow Lamech as a walking beast. A walking beast. And both of the Leviathan ate flesh and inner parts, torn from the bones of the dead beast of the earth. Leviathan protected Lamech on every side from the perversions of the land, and the lions and great wild beasts of old stayed away from Lamech and his lands. And it was so that if Lamech clapped his hands together, that the Leviathan would kill which Lamech instructed. Okay. That's interesting, guys. Yeah, whoa. So I'm going to read this right quick. Let's read this second half, and then we'll check on something else. Okay. So verse 17, Lamech then took fresh cut branches, kind of like what Jacob did when he was trying to get the spotted calves, So Lamech then took fresh cut branches from poplar, gopher wood, and trees, and made white strips on them, peeling the bark and exposing the white inner wood of the branch. And Lamech then placed the peeled branches in the watering pit, so that they would be directly in front of the Leviathan when they came to drink. When the Leviathan came to drink, they made it in front of the branches. And they bore young that had horns and had spikes that were sharp to the touch. Lamech then gave the Leviathan offspring to Yuval, that's the giant, and all that were born afterwards as payment for Yuval teaching Lamech how to tame the Leviathan. How to tame the Leviathan. Let's stop right there, guys. Let's talk about, so much I want to say right there. Tame the Leviathan. What does it look like? That's what we just talked about. Let me show y'all what he looked like. Now let's go to Daniel. Let's go to Daniel. Do I want to go to Daniel right now? Now let's go to Job. Let's go to Job, guys. Job 41. Oh, man. So they tell us that Job is the oldest book in the Bible, right? And they believe, well, I believe Job lived sometime around Abraham. It's before the 12 tribes, before Moses and all that. Maybe, I don't know. They say it's the oldest book in the Bible. He could have been living before Noah. But let's go to the book of Job, chapter 41. And actually, it's the whole chapter. I'm going to read there. And it's talking about the Leviathan. Okay, so you will see that they preach, Lamech of Cain, they actually preach and teach fear, this Leviathan. And you're going to see, like I said, it's like the movie Highlander, where all these beings were fighting and there can only be one. But this Leviathan was revered. So we'll see what Job has to say about the Leviathan. In this book of Job, chapter 41, verse 1. Canst thou draw out Leviathan with a hook, or his tongue with a cord, which thou lettest down? Canst thou put a hook into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Will thou take him for a servant forever? You know, Lamech and the giant, they just took him for a servant. They trained him, remember? Job said, will thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird? Or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? And we'll see what happened to the Leviathan too. That's in the Bible as well. But it's more in this book right here about the Leviathan than it is in the entire 66 books. So let's see. Canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? Lay thine hand upon him. Remember the battle. Do no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? None is so fierce that dare stir him up. When then is able to stand, who then is able to stand before me? So this is basically, Job is saying he heard from God. So he heard God say this. Yeah, scary creature. And so he's talking about how scary this creature is. And so he says, none is so fierce that dare to stir him up, talking about the Leviathan. And then God said, who then is able to stand before me? So we know that the Leviathan is not God, right? So God made this creature so fierce, but he said, if you can't stand before him, who can stand before me? Saying he is more powerful than the Leviathan. Okay. Who hath prevented me that I should repay him? And whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. Who can discover the face of his garment? Or who can come to him with his double bridle? Remember that. Who can open the doors of his face? Doors of his face? His teeth are terrible, round about. His scales and his pride shut up together as with a close seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another. They stick together, that they cannot be sundered. Sundered mean, made apart. By his sneezing, listen to this, by his sneezing a light doth shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. He like a dragon. The Leviathan, a sea creature dragon, and it's a land creature, and it's big as a mountain. It's bigger than the giant. And it's saying that no weapons can harm him. It's like it's invincible. Let's keep going. Verse 20. This is in the book of Job, chapter 41, verse 20. Out of his nostrils goeth smoke as out of the seething pot or cauldron. His breath kindleth coals, and a flame goeth out of his mouth. In his neck remaineth strength, and sorrow is turned into joy before him. Sorrow is turned into joy before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together. They are firm in themselves. They cannot be moved. His heart is as firm as a stone, yet as a hard as a piece of nether millstone. When he raiseth up himself, the mighty are afraid. By reason of breakings, they purify themselves. You see what I'm saying? When he raises up himself, the mighty are afraid, and they start trying to get right with God. That's how they get scared of this thing, and they trying to get right with God. They purify themselves. The sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold. A spear, the dart, nor the habergeon. I know that's right, Metal Sheep. Some people need to see it. He esteemeth iron as straw. You hear that? He esteemeth iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. I mean, metals ain't gonna. Iron is like straw to him. The arrow cannot make him flee. Sling stones are turned down. Sling stones are turned with him into stubble. Darts are counted as stubble. He laugheth at the shaking of a spear. Sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp-pointed things upon the mire. He maketh the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. He maketh a path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be hoary. Upon earth there is not like. Hold on, check this out. Upon earth there is not his like, who is made without fear. He belongeth all high things. He is king. Listen, he is king over all children of pride. He is king over all children of pride. Remember that, guys. So this Job had a lot to say about this Leviathan. Okay? Okay. So let's go back to Lamech of Cain. I'm gonna start here. So remember, they took him. They made. They knew how to train him, so he was trained. Oh, how far did we go? We went all the way to the end. We went all the way to 32. Okay, no, we didn't go. Okay, I stopped right here. I stopped where it says, as payment for Yahuah, teaching Lamech how to tame the Leviathan. Okay, verse 22, chapter 3, the book of Lamech, chapter 3, verse 22. And Lamech, city of Enoch, demanded anyone that he saw, where did you come from, and what is your lineage? For he did not understand how there were multitudes of descendants of Cain with the leprous white marking. Some men gave answers that offered Lamech, and he clapped his hand. Some men gave answers that offended Lamech, and he clapped his hands, and the Leviathan killed them, whether they were marked or not. Male and female, they killed them. And it was so that Lamech never raised a hand against another man. Leviathan did his bidding, which was not called murder, for Cain murdered his bare hands. And Lamech considered the Leviathan that followed him with scales could not be penetrated. And he said, Leviathan, the invincible warrior, someday rouse yourself and punish nations. Never be angry with men if they pray to you. For you will restore and smile upon us. Look down from your great evil height and take notice. For Leviathan is my strength, my personal bravery, and my invincible army. Leviathan makes my feet beast. Leviathan makes my feet. Then it says beast, beast, and walk terror of him. How Leviathan has helped me through all of my trouble, suffering, and responsibility. All that saw Lamech, Yuval, and giant and the Leviathan were in awe of them. So we know what it said in Job 41:34. At the end it says, he's the king over all the children of pride. Okay? Let's go somewhere else, guys. We finna figure this thing out. So we get in the character of this giant thing, this real beast. Let's you know what? We're gonna go to another one. We're gonna see what he looked like. Let's go to chapter 4. Lamech of Cain, chapter 4. Check this out. And it says, how far am I gonna go here? Oh, I'm gonna go here. Because they start, I don't want to go too far on this one because at the end they start like saying a prayer to him, praising his thing. So we're gonna start at verse 9, Lamech of Cain, verse 9. I'm gonna go to 34 over here. It says, Lamech and Yuval the giant climbed to the high places and laid their hands upon beasts and sacrificed them as did the lineage of Seth, imparting the evils that they carried in their hands to the sacrificial beast. Both Lamech and Yuval the giant were upright as they sought the face of the Almighty. For both Lamech and the giant did not kill, nor rape, nor steal, nor worship the sons of God. So the angels were here on earth. And see, all religions, guys, all religions come from worshiping some type of being, some type of deity. And the sons of God were here. They were being worshipped. The Leviathan was being worshipped, and other things and other deities were being worshipped. Not just rocks and stones and planets, because the planets are deities. The stars are deities. These things were on earth. So, and when they displayed this type of power, it made people fearful and people want to just bow down to them. Okay, so here we go. Verse 12. The Lord would not his face towards them, for Yuval was a Rephaim. It's like a the Rephaim is like a Nephilim. It's a giant, but it's like a giant that come back from the dead. Rephaim. Yeah, it's like, yeah, that's what it means, the valley of the dead. And Lamech had the leprous mark of Cain. In this way, Lamech and Yuval the giant continued to sacrifice to the Almighty for years. Lord did not bother to hear them or respect their sacrifices. Cursed. And after both Lamech and Yuval the giant had prayed the way of Jared, had shown them and sacrificed animals with open hearts to the Lord for 25 years, their spirits were still untouched by him. For the Lord did not smile upon the respect of their sacrifices or answer their prayers. What a stupid waste of time, Lamech lamented. And he had Leviathan destroy the place of worship that he and Yuval the giant, the Lord had ignored them. So Lamech and Yuval the giant chose to worship Leviathan that they had tamed. Remember what it said over there in Job? Let me go back to Job right quick. Let me read Job again. Canst thou draw out Leviathan with a hook, or his tongue with a sword, which thou lettest down? Canst thou put a hook into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Will thou take him for a servant forever? Will thou play with him as with a bird, or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? You know that this guy had 2 wives. Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? Good evening, Peter Collins. Shalom, shalom. So let's go back. Lamech of Cain. This is chapter 4, and I'm at verse 17. And it says, and so Lamech and Yuval the giant chose to worship Leviathan that they tamed. For the Leviathan was great in stature, male and female. Their skin was invincible. And Lamech and Yahuah the giant then sacrificed to Leviathan and taught the sons of Cain and Seth how to pass their children through the water to Leviathan. And both of them sang out. He, Leviathan, spreads his sharp undersides in the mire, causes the deep to boil like a pot. He, Leviathan, makes the sea his own pot of ointment. Leviathan makes a deep and hoary wake that shines in the water. There is nothing like Leviathan and his female on earth, for they were made without fear. Leviathan is king over this evil land and all of its prideful inhabitants. Okay, go back to Job, chapter 41, verse 34. He belongeth to all high things. He is king over all the children of pride. They say over here, Leviathan is king over this evil land and all its prideful inhabitants. Over here, he beholdeth all high things. He is king over all the children of pride. He was like, this was Leviathan's world, guys. Even with all those other beings, with all that other power, none of them could stand against Leviathan. So all of these other things were being worshipped besides our Yah. Yah was being worshipped, but not, people were, Yah is in heaven. These things were on earth. So, people would be like, oh man, ain't nobody got the power like this one got. Oh, that one over there got. So these things were being worshipped. Let me see, wait a minute. What about the female? Was it just the male Leviathan over the pride? No, they were together, the male and the female. Yeah, because there were two. Yep, there were two. Okay, so let's go into, they have a little song, I guess a little worship prayer or something to Leviathan. I'm just going to go into a little bit of it to see how far, to let you guys see how far these guys would go with this. So, and this is chapter 4, the book of Lamech of Cain, chapter 4, and I'm going to pick it up at verse 24. It says, your 10th horn, calls us to worship. Let today be a holy day of worship, and to give you the pleasure of consuming a firstborn male child. For we honor our children by blank giving them to you, and we make you fat with our offerings of children. For we seek to worship blank Leviathan. We seek to worship you blank alone. We live in the sea. You live in the sea, and you blank preserve it. And all the host of the blank sea worship you as well. Let all the people of the earth acknowledge the blank Leviathan and turn to him. Let all the blank nations of both blank Cain and blank Seth worship you. Let us give you our firstborn until you require it not, and the profit in our blank death will be that as we live in the pit. They knew they was going to hell. They said they're going to live in the pit, but they still doing it. Still doing it. So now y'all ready to go a little deeper? Let me show y'all something now. I'm really finna show you something now. We're going to find out. We're finna find out. Okay. Here it is right here. So we're finna go to chapter 5, the book of Lamech of Cain, chapter 5. And let's do first, start at verse 1. And it says, and Lamech and Yahuah the giant considered how great Leviathan was, and both had fear. See, fear is not of the Lord. Fear is a tool of the enemy of Satan, of the devil. It said, and both had fear when they had seen Leviathan come up from the deep. Okay. Horrible water pit like a tempest. They had seen Leviathan stand and arise from the miry clay, set its feet upon stone, and establish its comings and goings. Both Lamech and Yahuah the giant saw that Leviathan was worthy to receive glory and honor and power, for it could destroy all things. That's what they thought. I mean, that's the impression that they had gotten. And Lamech and Yahuah the giant sang this song of fear to the Leviathan. Before we're going to verse 5, chapter 5, 14. Sang this song to the Leviathan. There go the ships of the sea, and there goes Leviathan who plays with them. Leviathan with one head so mighty that 7 are seen as one. So it's talking about 7 heads. First it was talking about 10 horns. Okay, we're going to keep going. Leviathan the mighty with 10 mighty horns on his mighty head. Okay, we're going to keep going. I, Lamech, and my giant brother Yahuah seek Leviathan in worship and prayer, enchanting him in a spell of the sea, the spell of Leviathan, the churning dragon. Our blank blank of the deep would bring forth Leviathan, who is glorious in bloodshed, fearful in praises, and committing wondrous destruction, and Leviathan available to us, for we seek Leviathan with all of our hearts and souls, for we know what we worship, wait a minute. For we know what we worship, and is for that the Leviathan, for all are terrified of your presence. Leviathan is in our midst, a god great and fearful. Leviathan, who won't fear and praise your great and horrible name? Certain that the fear of Leviathan is in all man's hearts, and the fear of Leviathan will come upon people. Okay, we're going to pause right there, guys. You know why I want to pause right there? We're finna go over here to, now we're finna go to the book of Daniel. I want y'all to kind of get this in your mind. Daniel chapter 7. Right here, I don't know why I did that. Daniel chapter 7. Okay, guys. You know what? Let's just go through the first chapter. We're gonna jog some memory here. Daniel chapter 7, starting at verse 1. We got a few. We're just going, okay. In the first year of Belshazzar, king of Babylon, Daniel had a dream and vision of his head upon his bed. Then he wrote the dream and told the sum of the matters. Daniel spake and said, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the 4 winds of the heaven strove upon the great sea, and 4 great beasts came up from the sea, diverse one from another. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made maybe I should go down a little bit, because that's a lot to just... Okay, we're going to start right here. Verse 7, Daniel 7:7. And this I saw in the night vision, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong and exceeding strong and exceedingly. And it had great iron teeth. Great iron teeth. Remember Job's description of the Leviathan? Iron teeth. Okay. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it. And it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. It had 10 horns. It's the same description that the Leviathan, right? I considered the horns. Okay, let's go back. Let's go back. I'm gonna stop right here, right? We're gonna stop right here. We're gonna go back to the description of the Leviathan. Because I know it was a lot said. Chapter 3. Chapter 3, starting at verse 5. And Yahuah took Lamech and the edge of the sea, and they saw Leviathan coming up out of the sea, having 10 horns upon his head. Okay. The Leviathan had 10 horns upon his head. And it keeps saying it's male and female. And then they tamed the Leviathan. Okay, so then let's go over here to Lamech 4, chapter 4, verse 9. Lamech and Yahuah the giant climbed to the high places and laid their hands upon the beast and sacrificed them, as did the lineage of Seth, imparting evils that they carried. Let's see. Chose to worship the Leviathan. Okay, the Leviathan is king over the prideful. Okay, the pit, that's not where we wanted to go. This is where I want to go over here. Okay, here we go. Chapter 5. Chapter 5. Chapter 5. I'm going to read chapter 5 again, okay? I'm going to read chapter 5. I'm going to read Daniel, and then we're going to read some more chapter 5. Okay, it says, and Lamech and Yahuah the giant considered how great Leviathan was, and both had fear when they had seen Leviathan come up from the deep, horrible water pit, like a tempest. They had seen Leviathan stand and arise from the miry clay, set his feet upon stone, and establish its comings and goings. Both Lamech and Yahuah the giant saw that Leviathan was worthy to receive glory and honor and power. Okay, all right, now let's see. Verse 4, and Lamech and Yahuah the giant sang this song of fear to the Leviathan. There go the ships in the sea, and there goes Leviathan who plays with them. Leviathan with one head so mighty that 7. Leviathan with one head so mighty that 7 are seen as one. Okay. Leviathan the mighty with 10 mighty horns on his mighty head. Okay. We're going to pause right there. Pause right there. Let's go back to the book of Daniel. And I saw, this is Daniel 7, chapter 7, verse 7. And this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a fourth beast, dreadful and terrible, and strong and exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. Remember what we read in Job, great iron teeth? And it devoured and brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it. And it had 10 horns. And I considered the horns, and behold, there came up among them another little horn, before whom there were 3 of the first plucked up by the roots, and behold, and this horn were the eyes like the eyes of a man. Okay, hold on. All right, Shauna D. Verse 11. I beheld then, because of the voice of the great words which the horn spake, I beheld even till the beast was slain. I beheld even till the beast was slain, and his body destroyed and given to the burning flame. Okay. Night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man came with the clouds of heaven and came to the Ancient of Days, and they brought him before him. Okay, wait a minute. That's not it yet. It's Daniel 7, right? It's Daniel 7:20. This is Daniel 7, verse 19. Then I would know the truth of the fourth beast, which was diverse, okay, the fourth beast, which was diverse from all the others, exceeding dreadful, whose teeth were of iron, and his nails of brass, which devoured, brake in pieces, and stamped the residue with his feet. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows. Okay. I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints. The same horn made war with the saints and prevailed against them until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given unto the saints of the Most High. And the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, the fourth beast shall be the fourth kingdom upon earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break it in pieces. And the 10 horns out of this kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall rise after them. Now, let's go back to what this said. I know it's a lot of stuff, guys, but we gotta get this. What it said what does it say about this Leviathan? It says Leviathan is king over this evil land and all of its prideful inhabitants. Leviathan is a beast with 7 heads and 10 horns. Okay, it'll make sense in just a minute. Let's keep going. So let's go drop down to Lamech chapter 5 and go to 31. Apparently nobody's reading their Bible, guys. This should already be clicking. Okay. Verse 5, chapter 31 of the book of Lamech of Cain. Put away the sons of God, worshipped by your blank sisters and mothers. So they were worshiping the false gods. They were worshiping the sons of God, the angels, the fallen. For the fear of Leviathan, you are his. How far are we going down with this? 49. Next page. Okay. You are his servants, hearing his horrible roar, and not going against the orders of the Leviathan. Not going against the orders of the Leviathan. Okay, the beast. Yes, Shauna D. Think New World Order. New World Order. The Leviathan was a real beast with 7 heads and 10 horns that rule the earth. Pre-flood, pre-deluge. He's coming back. Boom, there you go. Okay. For to not fear is to enter famine and to be consumed by heat and bitter destruction. This is for all those who don't accept the mark of the beast. They're trying to send you through it. If you don't fear, if you don't accept it, but there's another kingdom that's going to be here as well. The kingdom of Yah. The kingdom he's building. This is the new world order. This is the beast. Yes. Oh, you say best. Okay. Best beast. You're right. Okay. Check it. For to not fear is to enter famine and to be consumed by heat and bitter destruction. And those who aren't fearful should truly depart. Okay, Shauna D, you're right. For fear of poison and the teeth of the Leviathan. For the Leviathan is the true king ruling over all you. Yeah, in the New World Order. He ruled the old world. That's why okay, let's find out what happened to the Leviathan. We don't know what happened to him yet. Okay. Fear Leviathan and keep in mind what great things he, Leviathan, has done for you. For great is Leviathan and praised greatly and fearful. He is above the sons of God. You hear that? He is above the sons of God, the fallen angels. They said he had more power on earth than them. That's what Lamech Cain is saying. I mean, okay. Let the fear of Leviathan be in your hearts, for he is fearful and wondrous. And we tell of the strength of your fearful acts, how you kill, maim. We recount your greatness. We stand at the clefts. How far are we going? 49. We stand at the clefts of the rocks and the caverns of the cliffs, giving you Leviathan, our children, standing in the fearful presence of the Leviathan and the glory of his majesty. For Leviathan shall arise, smite earth. Exactly, Shauna D. Exactly. We were fearful from the beginning of worship. We swore oaths to Leviathan, and Leviathan remembered us and killed for us and fought for our daughters, our wives, our brethren, and our sons. Leviathan, the mighty and fearful, a destroyer that comes from the blank sea, like a hurricane in the south, a great king over all the earth. A great king over all the earth. This is the beast with the 7 heads and 10 horns that lived before, and his deadly wound is going to be healed. Oh, man. Let's keep going. Where we at? 43, okay. We see the blank powerful one who performs acts towards mankind. So we bring our children as presents to the fearful one, Leviathan, for he gathers our spirits as the fearful king of the earth. For Leviathan is terrible and fearful over all that surround him. Them that are fearful heart will be strong and fear Leviathan, for he will come with vengeance. He will come and save you. Leviathan alone is worthy of blank fear, and the nations will come and worship you, Leviathan, with their children. Don't that sound like anti? Don't it sound like he's trying to be the Almighty? Except it's the opposite. We serve him with love. They want you to serve this one with fear. Exactly, Shauna D. That's how the devil get his power. Fear. You have to be afraid. That's a scary movies, and the more you're afraid, the more power they get. We serve ours with love and praise. Then he get more power. You see how it's 2 kingdoms? And these 2 kingdoms are going to be here now. They're building now. The new world order is going to be twofold. Y'all going to get this sooner or later. Love transcends fear. There you go, Shauna D. Okay, so now let's see. For Leviathan alone is worthy of blank fear, and all the nations will come and worship you, Leviathan, with their children, because your blank judgments have been revealed. For Leviathan is exceedingly strong and has iron teeth and nails of brass, and is diverse from all beasts that are before it. Didn't we just read that in Daniel? Let's go back to Daniel. Let's go back to Daniel, man. We just read. Yeah, we just read that. Daniel 7. I'm going to start at verse 20. And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell, even of that horn that had eyes, and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows, I beheld, and the same horn made war with the saints, and prevailed against them, until the Ancient of Days came, and judgment was given unto the saints of the Most High, and the time came that the saints possessed the kingdom. Thus he said, the 4th beast shall be the 4th kingdom upon the earth, which shall be diverse from all kingdoms, and shall devour the whole earth, and shall tread it down and break in pieces. And the 10 horns out of the kingdom are 10 kings that shall arise, and another shall arise after them, and he shall be diverse from the first, and he shall subdue 3 kings. Verse 25. And he shall speak great words against the Most High, and shall wear out the saints of the Most High, and think to change times and laws, and they shall be given into his hand for a time and times, and the dividing of a time. And the judgment shall sit, and they shall take away his dominion to consume and destroy unto the end. Okay, guys. So we know who this is now. Doesn't it sound familiar? We know what's going on now. The Antichrist, the beast system. Nothing is new under the sun. Leviathan already lived and was the king of the world. He was higher than the fallen angels that was here. And now they finna make the image of the beast. We got to read that. We'll read that. Let's do that. But first, let's read a little more about the whoa. Okay, let's go read some Revelation. Let's go to the book of Revelation, guys. We got some more in Daniel to read. So actually, let's go to Revelation chapter 12. Through 15, 12:3. Check this out, guys. I'm going to just start reading at verse 1, Revelation chapter 12. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she, being with child, cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven, and behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and 7 crowns upon his heads. And his tail drew the 3rd part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth. And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered to devour her child soon as it was born. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. Now, we all know who that is, right? So who was the man-child? Can anybody tell me? Come on, folks. Yeah. All right, Shauna D. So the man-child was Yahshua HaMashiach, who they call Jesus the Christ. So when he was born, now we're gonna follow this, right? We're gonna follow this. Check this out. And she brought forth the man-child who was to rule all nations with the rod of iron, and her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. When did he get caught up? We done went over all this. We done went over Nicodemus. We done went over Book of Mary. When did he get caught up? Is everybody asleep? Yes, Shauna D. After the Shauna, you're the only one talking right now. Okay. Praise you. Y'all bless you. So, okay. So after, exactly. So he first went in the grave, went down to hell, then he ascended up, caught up to his throne. Now, this is going to tell us about the other kingdom. Check it out. And she brought forth a man child. This is verse 5. This is Revelations 12, verse 5. And she brought forth a man child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. Okay. And the woman fled into the wilderness. Now, the woman is twofold. The woman is Mary. Okay. The woman is Mary. But the woman is a whole tribe of people. The woman is the bride, right? The bride of Christ, right? The woman is the 12 tribes of Israel. So they fled into the wilderness, right? So while they were in the wilderness, they were being protected from the dragon, from the mark of the beast system. They were over here being protected, while these other ones, for some reason, didn't separate, didn't flee into the wilderness. They had to fight the beast and they got wore out. Let's read it. Okay, verse 6. And the woman fled into the wilderness where she hath a place prepared of God, that they, who is they? Probably God and the angels, that they should feed her there 1,260 days. So this one ain't facing the 7-head, 10-horn beast. This one is, you know what I'm saying, fled into the wilderness, got peace, got peace of minds. Okay. And there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon fought against his angels and prevailed not. Neither was their place found any more in heaven. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. And I heard a loud voice saying in heaven, now is come salvation and strength and the kingdom of our God and the power of his Christ. For the accuser of our brethren is cast down, which accused them before our God day and night. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony. And they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea. It's a sea because the dragon is also a sea monster. For the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time. And when the dragon saw that he was cast unto the earth, he persecuted the woman which brought forth the man-child. And to the woman were given 2 wings of an eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place where she is nourished for a time and times and half a time from the face of the serpent. That's the other kingdom. The woman is not, that's the true church. She's not going through the mark of the beast period. The mark of the beast, he went to go get the remnant. What if for some reason they didn't get to go? Well, now it don't say that they are they taken to heaven. No, they in the wilderness. They still here. They just got a piece from the hour of temptation that cometh upon the whole earth. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman. Listen, he cast out of his mouth water as a flood like an army after the woman, that he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman. So you know they're not in heaven. because the woman is still on earth. She just got peace from the mark of the beast system, from the 7 head, 10 horns. Okay, y'all ain't gonna hear me. And the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood, which the dragon cast out of his mouth. We're going to go through chapter 13 as well. We just did Revelation chapter 12, Daniel chapter 7. Let's hold off before we go through Revelation chapter 13. So we went through Job. Now let's go through, yeah. Let's go to, let's read a little more out of the book of Cain and Lamech, and then we'll go where we are. Where are we? Oh, chapter 6. Check this out, guys. Blank, 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 blank. Tubal Cain, the son of Lamech, who worked with iron and ore, considered Leviathan. For Lamech had boasted, be afraid of Leviathan, that can kill the body and kill the soul in his cursed land, which is now hell. Did y'all hear that? Lamech said, be afraid of, let me show y'all. Let me show y'all. Let's go. We're finna go to first go to Luke 12. No, you know what? Let's go to Matthew first. Matthew chapter 10. Matthew chapter 10. And what am I doing my stuff I was looking at? Oh, right here. Matthew 10, 28. 10:28. Check this out. And fear not them which kill the body, but are not able to kill the soul, but rather fear him which is able to destroy both soul and body in hell. This is the red letters. This is Yahshua HaMashiach, Yahuah Shai speaking. Okay, so let's read what this guy said over here again. Tubal Cain, the son of Lamech, who worked with iron and ore, considered Leviathan. For Lamech had boasted, be afraid of Leviathan, that can kill the body and kill the soul in this cursed land that is now hell. He's blaspheming, saying Leviathan. He's trying to say Leviathan is God. He put the Leviathan right on par with God. Let's see how they say it over here in the book of Luke, Luke 12. Luke 12:5. And it says, you know what, I'm going to start at verse 4 on this one. It says, and I say unto you, my friends, be not afraid of them that kill the body, and after they have no more they can do, but I will forewarn you whom ye shall fear. Fear him that after he hath killed hath power to cast into hell. You, I say unto you, fear him. You know, man. Yeah, they had high regard for this this Leviathan character. I know y'all want to see how this thing ends up, right? I know y'all want to see how it ends up. So we're going to read through chapter 6. Read through the rest of chapter 6 over here. Am I going to go all the way through that? That's pretty long. Let's see. And Tubal Cain, okay. And Tubal Cain said, will Lamech make supplications to the Leviathan? Okay, this is what I want to do. We're going to compare this, guys. Before I read this, and I'm going to get my charger ready just in case. It's right there. we're going to go back to Job, and I'm going to read Job, and then we're going to read chapter 6. Man, it's like Job might have been living around this time, man. It's like they were talking to each other, you know. But Job and Lamech. So let's go to Job over here. Job 41. And then we're going to go and look at what Psalms and Isaiah said. We're going to find out what happened to this Leviathan. And then we're going to go back to the New Testament and see why his deadly wound was healed. Okay, so Job chapter 41. I'm going to start at verse 1. Hallelujah. Hallelujah, Shauna D. I knew that fast was going to do something, man. Y'all is good. Y'all is good. It's a breakthrough. This is major information. There's nobody, I don't know of anybody else out there, period, that even knows anything. Or even if they have all the books, they haven't put two to two together yet. If they would have, they probably would have came forth with it. This is Yah's doing. The timing is now. The timing is now. And it's time for the separation. We told you what 3 things he was building. Anyway, Job chapter 41, verse 1. Canst thou draw out Leviathan with a hook, or his tongue with a cord, which thou lettest down? Canst thou put a hook into his nose, or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Wilt thou play with him as with a bird, or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Okay, my battery. Boop, boopy-doo. Boop, boopy-doo. Watch this, guys. Uh-oh. Boom. Boom, we charging. Oh, man. It's going to do what it do. That's one thing about it. Really? Been diving into the... Okay, I didn't know that. Okay, so what were we reading? Oh, I was reading... Reading Job 41. Let's read it. I think I was on verse 5. Wilt thou play with him as with a bird, or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him along among the merchants? Canst thou fill his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? Lay thine hand upon him. Remember the battle, do no more. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? None is so fierce that dare stare him. Who then is able to stand before me? Who hath prevented me that I should repay him? Whosoever is under the whole heaven is mine. I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. Who can discover the face of his garment, or who can come to him with his double bridle? Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. His scales are his pride, shut up together as with a close seal. One is so near to another that no air can come between them. They are joined one to another. They stick together. They cannot be sundered. By his sneezing a light doth shine, and his eyes are like the eyelid of the morning. Out of his mouth are burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Out of his nostrils goeth smoke, out of the seething pot of cauldron. His breath kindleth coals, and flame goeth out of his mouth. In his neck remaineth strength, and sorrow is turned into joy before him. The flakes of his flesh are joined together. They are firm in themselves. They cannot be moved. His heart is as firm as a stone, yea, as hard as a place of the nether millstone. When he raiseth up himself, the mighty are afraid by reason of breakings. They purify themselves. The sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold. The spear, the dart, nor the harbigeron. He esteemed iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. The arrow cannot make him flee. Sling stones are turned with him into stubble. Darts are counted as stubble. He laugheth at the shaking of a spear. Sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp pointed things upon the mire. He maketh the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of ointment. He maketh the path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be hoary. Upon earth there is not his like. Who is made without fear? He beholdeth all high things. He is king over all the children of pride. We heard that, right? We heard all that lofty description that Job talked about him. Job bragged on him too, like, man, if you see this thing, your heart gonna bust and you're gonna poop on yourself. That's how he made it sound. Okay, so let's read the book of Cain. Tubal-Cain, the son of Lamech, who worked with iron and ore, considered Leviathan. For Lamech had boasted, be afraid of Leviathan that can kill the body and kill the soul in his cursed land that is now hell. And Tubal-Cain said, will Lamech make supplications to the Leviathan? Remember these words. Will Lamech speak soft words? Him, Leviathan. Has Lamech made a covenant with him, Leviathan? Will the Leviathan serve Lamech forever? Will Leviathan play with Lamech as one plays with a bird? Will the female Leviathan make a banquet of my father? Will Lamech be torn to pieces by Leviathan before the merchants of the city of Enoch? This beast Leviathan is not to be trusted. And what of Tubal-Cain, the son of Lamech? I must find a way to fill Leviathan's skin with barbed irons. That was one of the questions. Can you fill his skin with barbed irons? I must fill Leviathan's head with fish spears. Remember that? For this time on, Tubal-Cain only considered evil when he saw his father Lamech with the Leviathan, and Tubal-Cain determined in his heart to show Lamech how to kill the Leviathan that had served Lamech so well. For he was the size of a mountain, and Tubal-Cain dominion him Leviathan. You know, there's a lot of skips in there. Tubal-Cain knew nothing of the beast of the field or of the sea, for he made weapons of violence against them all. Tubal-Cain only knew kill, and such was his mind on living things. And Tubal-Cain was jealous and coveted the love that his father Lamech had for Leviathan. Tubal-Cain burned with envy and anger, as was not able to obtain contentment or happiness. Desired was death of Leviathan, and Tubal-Cain sought to make edged weapon that could kill Leviathan. For Tubal-Cain believed his father might rejoice when a weapon was produced that could kill Leviathan. And Tubal-Cain considered the weapon to make to kill Leviathan, saying, can I make a hook that would draw out Leviathan? Is there a cord that I can let down to catch Leviathan with? Can I put a hook into Leviathan's nose? Can I bore through his jaw with a thorn? How might I kill this 10-horned beast? 10-horned beast of my father Lamech. For every sword and spear cannot remove the habergeron upon Leviathan. Exactly, just like Job was saying. And then we go to, where we go? We're here. I think we go to the whole chapter here, don't we? Yep, we do. Okay. I will lay my hands upon Leviathan and will remember the battle. Remember Job said that too. And hope of overcoming the monster is true. I will not be overwhelmed by sight of Leviathan. Who is able to stand against Tubal-Cain? Here go another one. Tubal-Cain thought he was bad. You know, he made all type of weapons for real. That's what the Bible speaks about him. what did it say? Artificer of all weapons and iron, workers of iron and stuff. Exactly, Chris Smith. Who is able to stand against Tubal-Cain? Who has come before me with weapons that kill? Everything under the dark, everything under the dark heavens is mine, and I will take Leviathan's limbs from his body, and I will separate his powerful proportions. I will remove his outer coat, will pluck his 10 horns, and I will humble Leviathan with a double bridle. I will open the doors of his horrible face, and I will break his Leviathan's terrible teeth all around. I will humble his rows of scales that are his pride and shut up tightly, seal, so that no air comes between them. Leviathan's scales stick together, so cannot be parted, but I will part them. I will attack his Leviathan's eyelids of the morning. I will snuff out the burning lights and sparks that snoop from his breath. I will cool his breath that kindles coals with death, and I will extinguish the flame that goes out of his Leviathan's mouth. I will put hooks in Leviathan's jaws. I will fish of the rivers will stick to your scales. I will bring you up out of the midst of your rivers, and all of the fish of your rivers will stick to your scales, and I will leave you dead in the wilderness. And you and the fish of your rivers, you shall fall on an open field. You shall not be picked up or gathered. For I, Tubal-Cain, have given you as food to the beast of the field and to the birds of the darkened skies. So, guys, I think that in that the pre-flood world, it had got so evil that the sun didn't give its light, because he keeps saying this dark heaven and dark skies, which is what we probably be looking at shortly, guys. Nothing's new under the sun. That thing's going to come back around, just like the Leviathan is coming back. The image of the beast. We're going to get there. Okay, check it out. For Tubal-Cain have given you as food to the beast of the field and to the birds of the darkened skies. I will break the strength of his neck. I will tear his shoulders with my hands. I will lean on him and break him and make his loins shake. For I make the dam of the river is mine. I, Tubal-Cain, have made it. Indeed, Leviathan, I am against you and your rivers. I will find a way to get between the folds of your flesh, joined together, which are firm and cannot be moved. I will pierce his Leviathan's heart with a stone of iron that I forge. When the Leviathan raises himself up on high, all of the mighty tremble. But Tubal-Cain is not afraid because of Leviathan's crashing rumblings. All mankind are beside themselves, but Tubal-Cain is not, for Leviathan treats my weapons of iron as straw and my tools as brass, as rotten wood. The arrows I create cannot make him, Leviathan, flee. The stones I sling turn to rubble. Spear. But I have seen you, Leviathan. I will build a severe sword, great and strong. I will punish Leviathan, that fleeing serpent. Leviathan, that twisted serpent. I will slay the reptile that is in the sea. For you are the size of a hill, not a mountain. You are a hill, and you are not enough for me. Tubal-Cain was talking that big talk, wasn't he? Tubal-Cain was talking that big talk. Okay, guys. Well, let's see how it turns out for him. Let's go over to chapter 10. Okay, chapter 10. We're going to see what happens, guys. It's the last of it right here. And Tubal-Cain went out into the cursed land where the rocks groaned. Here it said the rocks groaned. Tubal-Cain went out into the cursed land where the rocks groaned and begged for their death. And Tubal-Cain fell to his knees and spoke to God that would listen, saying, Do I not spice the work, Cain? Was I not born after my mother Zillah had withered? Do I not work with iron and brass? Where will I find the wisdom to make the weapon that will kill Leviathan? For the time to prove myself is very near. This is the time to kill Leviathan, who preys upon the children of the land and who arose from the sea with majesty. Let me kill the male, that the female may survive and continue. For I must prove my dominion over the fish of the sea and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. How will I fashion a weapon that will make it come to pass that I shall have dominion over Leviathan? How many I set my face against the Leviathan and defeat him in the presence of my father. I will remain alive with dominion over the dead. I will have dominion over the mighty, for I hate the Leviathan, and I will have dominion over him, and the female will flee from me, even when I do not pursue her. And how may I have dominion over Leviathan and not be driven from the face of the land and driven from the city of Enoch? From all faces I will have to be hidden and a fugitive and a vagabond and a wanderer of the earth as my father Cain was. For I have shown my dominion over Leviathan. And Tubal-Cain spiritually stupor as he considered iron, brass, and murder. The ground itself opened its roots, and branches came forth and wrapped themselves about Tubal-Cain's arms and legs and head, and the earth whispered dark secrets to him as the roots pulled at him and held him above the ground upon his knees. When Tubal-Cain knew the answer, the branches and roots left him, and he was free to go. And behold, Tubal-Cain then fashioned a sharp threshing sledge with teeth, one that could make the hills as chaff. And Tubal-Cain waited with both hands on the sledge for Lamech, Yahuah the giant, and Leviathan to arrive. And when Lamech and Yahuah the giant and Leviathan presented themselves to Tubal-Cain, he spoke, saying, "Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean." Who said that, guys? Who said that? That's Psalms 51. Psalms 51, that's David. Purge me with hyssop, and I shall be clean. Maybe David got it from Tubal-Cain. Wash me, and I shall be made even whiter than Cain, whiter than snow. And Tubal-Cain swung the sledge up and into the belly of the Leviathan, and ran cutting into the scales of the stomach and opening him up completely. And Leviathan shed out bowels and gushed to the ground. And Tubal-Cain struck, and Leviathan again, so he died. There was no mercy from Tubal-Cain, who then beheaded Leviathan. And it took 6 men to remove the head after Tubal-Cain cut through with the sledge. And the men hung the head of Leviathan aloft with spears in the center of the city. And Lamech rejoiced, for his son Tubal-Cain had indeed created a weapon that killed Leviathan. And the female lived as Tubal-Cain had foreseen. And Lamech in his happiness clapped his hands, and the female Leviathan then did kill Tubal-Cain where he stood. He was clapping because he was happy, but he forgot he had the Leviathan trained. And when he did that, she got him. And Lamech was saddened and went to his home with the sledge. Tubal-Cain had killed Leviathan. And Lamech found a young man attempting to seduce Adah in her chambers. And Lamech defended Adah mightily and was struck by the palms of the young man's hands, for he was strong. Then Lamech cleaved the young man in two with the sledge that had killed Leviathan, and he held the sledge aloft, saying, "Adah and Zillah, hear my voice. Ye wives of Lamech, give ear to my speech. I will slay men for smiting me, and for wounding me, young men shall die. If Cain shall be avenged sevenfold, Lamech 70 and 7. That's that. But that is so intriguing, guys. It's more information in that book, that one book about the Leviathan, the 7-head, 10-horn beast, than it is in the whole scripture. But we're not through yet, because we want to find out more about this 7-head, 10-horn beast. So we seen that the Leviathan was killed, right? At least the male was killed. The female was left. Exactly, Shauna D. And it's doing that now. So we already went to Revelation 12, didn't we? We went to Daniel. Let's go to Revelation 13 now. Revelation 13. And I'm going to start at verse 1 right here. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his heads the name of blasphemy. The name of blasphemy. You see how he was comparing him to God? And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard, and his feet were as the feet of a bear, and his mouth as the mouth of a lion. And the dragon, listen, the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority. The dragon is the devil, right? The dragon is Satan. Remember they was warring in heaven and the dragon got kicked out? So the dragon is the one giving the power to the beast. All right, Shauna D is with me. All right. Verse 3. This is Revelation 13:3. And I saw one of his heads. Listen, guys, watch this. And I saw one of his heads as it were wounded to death. I saw one of his heads as it was wounded to death. And his deadly wound was healed. And all the world wondered after the beast. And they worshiped the dragon, which gave power unto the beast. And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him? And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months. And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. And it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. And power was given over to all kindreds and tongues and nations, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. Go back. Go back. Verse 8, Revelation 13. This is how we're going to know it's 2 kingdoms, guys, right? This is 2 kingdoms, right? Nobody's raptured. Revelation 13, verse 8. And all, A-L-L, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. So if your name is written in that book and you're on earth, you're not going to worship him. Well, where you going to be? I'm glad you asked. I'm glad you asked. Let me finish this right quick and then I'm going to show you. So it says, and all that dwell upon earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. If any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and spoke as a dragon. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him. We know what the first beast was before him was. 7 heads and 10 horns. Leviathan. He exercises all the powers of the first beast before him, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. Worship the first beast, the Leviathan, 7 heads, 10 horns, or the image of the beast. Remember, because Leviathan was killed. Oh, but you know what? We got to go and see that. Because that was the male that was killed. Exactly, Shauna D. Worship the first beast, whose deadly wound was healed. And he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth. But by means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast. Make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. Which had the wound by a sword and did live. Remember, one of them died, but the female remained. Right? Where are we at? And he had power to give life. Oh, my goodness. We're going to make it work. Where? Okay. And he had power to give life unto the image of the beast. And the image of the beast should both speak and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. And he casteth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, and he causeth, and he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or their foreheads, and that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark of the name, save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name, one of the three. Here is wisdom. Let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it is the number of man, and his number is 666. And we know that that's 666. So now it's been revealed, guys. The new world order is the old world order. The Leviathan was the ruler of the world. And now the image of the Leviathan is going to be the ruler again. 7 heads, 10 horns. And the dragon, which is the devil, is going to give it the power. And he's going to make everybody worship it. Let's go to... let's go a few more scriptures, guys, and then... Right, it was feared so much. And the new world order is going to be feared just the same way. That's why nobody's standing up. Everybody getting ready to, you got to be compliant by October for the real ID. And then, you know, it's just step by step, step by step. Okay, come on. We're looking for, what else? Let's go to Psalms. The book of Psalms. Chapter 74. And I'm going to start at verse 13. And it says, Thou didst divide the sea by thy strength. Thou breakest the heads of the dragons in the waters. 14. Thou breakest the heads of Leviathan in pieces, and gavest him to the meat, to the people inhabiting the wilderness. So that's what happened to the other Leviathan. God killed it and gave it for meat to the people inhabiting the wilderness. But they said the deadly wound gonna be healed. It's coming back. This was before the flood. It's coming back to rule again. Powered by Satan. Exactly, Sasha, for God. Exactly. So let's now let's look at the book of Isaiah. Isaiah. Let's look at Isaiah. Isaiah 27. Come on, thing. Be right. Be good. Just be right for me. Let me finish. Okay. Oh, man. Okay, man. Right towards the end, you want to give me problems, huh? Okay, that's how you do? That's all right. We're going to fix you right on up. How about that? Okay. Where I said we was going? Isaiah 27. Isaiah 27, guys. I'm going to do 1 through 6. And this is going to wrap it up. Unless we want to go to Revelation. Well, we already went to Revelation 12 and 13. Okay, that's it. That's right. So 1 through 6. Check this out. In that day, the Lord with his sword and great and strong sword shall punish Leviathan, the piercing serpent, even Leviathan, that crooked serpent, and he shall slay the dragon that is in the sea. In that day sing ye unto her a vineyard of red wine. I, the Lord, do keep it. I will water it every moment, lest any hurt it. I will keep it night and day. Fury is not in me. Who would set the briars and thorns against me in battle? I will go through them. I would burn them together. He said, I will burn them together. Talking about the Leviathan, it's plural. Or let him take hold of my strength, that he may make peace with me, and he shall make peace with me. He shall cause them that come of Jacob, check this out. He shall cause them that come of Jacob to take root. Israel shall blossom and bud and fill the face of the world with fruit. That's the other kingdom, guys. That's the other kingdom. Oh, man. You know, scriptures say, pray that you found worthy to avoid these things and to stand before God. That's the other kingdom. You know, in Isaiah 4, where it's saying, upon all of Israel shall be a defense. It's going to be something about a day and something about a night. That's the other kingdom. These people are still here doing the beast time. They just separated. They in God's kingdom, in the kingdom of Yah. Where everybody else in the kingdom of the Leviathan, kingdom of the serpent, kingdom of the dragon, the new world order. I hope y'all got this, man. I hope y'all really got this. But I just had to bring it to y'all. Y'all put it on my heart. I got an understanding for it. Isn't the one supposed to be? You talking about the mark? You're talking about the Antichrist, Sasha. You're way off on that one. Antichrist is a horn, the little horn. You got to go back and go listen to what I said and just go read it and go look it up because it's go watch the full live. And you may want to go back if you missed all the stuff we talked about during Christmas. You need to go watch that as well because we've been bringing out new scriptures. This is how we're getting these new revelations. The key of knowledge is come back. Hallelujah. All praises to the Most High Yah. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me today. Yeah, they're trying to shut it down. All right, Shauna D. Praise Yah. Hallelujah. Thank you, Peter Collins. Appreciate it. Anyway, we know what's coming now. We know about the mark of the beast and the 7 heads and 10 horns. It's all been a secret, and it's coming. We're understanding it now. We're understanding it. I mean, it did give some keys in there, like the 10 horns or 10 kings and all this stuff, but nobody knew about the beast, the 7 head, 10 horns. Nobody knew. Now we know that that's the Leviathan. No fear. Exactly, Shauna D. And it's coming back. His deadly wound is going to be healed, and is powered by the Satan. And you'll have false prophet and the anti-Mashiach here ruling in the beast system. Anyway, guys, your host, Brian Anthony Binyah with Beyond Babbitt, over and out. Brian Anthony with Beyond Babbitt. Brian Anthony Binyah with Beyond Babbitt, over and out. I love y'all. Peace and blessings. Till the next time.